Much, we got you covered. All right, here we go. Deshaun Watson and many Texans fans have had something in common. They found out about the team's new GM hire via social media. According to our Adam Schefter, Watson was bothered by the team not considering or consulting him in the process of hiring former Pats executive Nick Caserio. This comes on the heels of the team trading away DeAndre Hopkins last year without consulting their franchise quarterback. Dan Orlovsky had this to say about Deshaun, who had the best season of his career this year, on NFL Live yesterday.
Deshaun Watson is so good that you can win multiple Super Bowls with. Get out. Houston can't do it for you. Leave.
Our next guest knows what it's like to win Super Bowls. He's won 2 of them, played in 3. Rob Ninkovich, it's been a long time. Good to see you, sir. I will get to you in just a moment. We got a bunch of NFL topics to tackle here. Stephen A., you're up first. How should Deshaun feel about this with the Texans? First DeAndre Hopkins, and now the GM finding out on social media?
Well, I completely agree with Dan Orlovsky. He should want out. He should want to get the hell out because they haven't been listening to him. They're clearly not listening to him now. You got to remember, it wasn't just that DeAndre Hopkins is an all-world receiver. I mean, the dude went to Clemson just like Deshaun Watson did. They were friends, the alumni members, for crying out loud. They've been tight for years. It wasn't just a guy that he threw the football to and they had some good chemistry or connection. They were boys. And you got rid of him. You're Bill O'Brien. Bill O'Brien should have been gone years ago. And then you finally come to your senses and you get rid of Bill O'Brien in Houston. But then here you are. This guy's got a slew of candidates he wants you to consider. And you completely ignore him. This has shut up and dribble written all over it. I know we're talking football instead of basketball, but metaphorically speaking, we understand what that means. When LeBron James and others were told essentially to do so, shut up and dribble. In other words, play the games, entertain us, and go to hell home and be happy with what you have. That's basically what they told Deshaun Watson. Now, in Houston's case, They sort of have an argument to get away with it because we just saw Deshaun Watson crying months ago with affection and love in his heart for the organization, for the faith that they showed in him with the huge deal that they gave him. But the flip side to it is that they're saying now that we did all of that for you, we got this. And to me, I've always been of this mindset. You know what? If you're not the boss, you don't get to make the decisions. That is true. But the stars that you asked to go out there and perform for you, whether it's day in, day out, week in, week out, month in, month out, whatever the case may be, when they deliver those goods and you ignore what ultimately elevates their level of happiness or at least makes them feel good about what they're doing, then essentially as an executive, you're ultimately hurting yourself. Probably sooner than later, because what you've done is you've zapped the euphoria, the zest, the inspirational elements from them. And you've stripped them of the desire to go out there and perform to the best of their ability. It's not that they do it on purpose. It's not that they would ever conscientiously, Rob, sit up there and say, well, I'm not going to do my job, or I'm not going to play, or whatever the case may be. But when frustration is allowed to not only seep inside of you, but stay there, and it's unaddressed by executives in positions of power to make change, then ultimately you lose faith in everybody. And I think that's what potentially is going to end up happening with Deshaun Watson in Houston because he knows they're on a path to nowhere, and he's not going to be happy about that.
First of all, I disagree with you about shut up and dribble because the NFL is not the NBA. The NBA is a superstar league. That's really what determines whether or not you win, and the NFL isn't. But I will say this. You're right about, it really depends on how you perceive Deshaun Watson, whether or not he should have input. If he should have input, it's because he is a special player. And so do you believe that's true, yes or no? Oh, it's obviously true. You have to be blind not to see that's true. I don't give them any credit for giving him that contract. Zero. Texans get absolutely no credit because every single team in the league that had Deshaun Watson would give him that same deal. He's great. In fact, when you talk about what you could get for someone in a trade, Mahomes is in a class by himself. Maybe Deshaun Watson is second there, right? Because Aaron Rodgers is much older. Even Russell Wilson's significantly older. And I don't even know that Russell Wilson is better at this moment. Maybe a touch, maybe, but it's close already. Again, Deshaun Watson, 7 years younger. Now, he's not in his rookie deal anymore, so someone with huge upside like Justin Herbert, you can start to look at him. Someone like Josh Allen, maybe they have an argument. But in my opinion, the second most valuable player in a trade outside of Mahomes in the NFL is Deshaun Watson. You should probably consult with him. You don't have to take his advice, but at least give him the respect as a superstar player entering his prime, as the franchise quarterback you just paid. Give him the respect of soliciting his opinion, at least. You don't get rid of, as you said, his boy and one of the best receivers in the league and with the best set of hands, arguably ever, like on the Chris Carter and Larry Fitzgerald and DeAndre Hopkins, and it's his boy, and you just trade him and he finds out about it on social media or wherever? Like, could you imagine someone coming into Joe Montana and saying, Joe, I know you and Jerry Rice have this thing going on. Or worse, Joe Montana finds out about it on the news. Oh, they traded Jerry Rice. Would never happen. So he has been disrespected. The team was awful this year. The offensive line was supposed to be good. I know they had injuries late, but they were not playing up to what people were expecting anyway. They didn't have the receiving core because they traded Hopkins in a stupid trade. Should Deshaun want out? Yeah, he should. He should want out. The problem is, hard to move him, not because no one would want him, but because how do you get equal value back?
Look, this isn't the first time, and it won't be the last time a NFL player was lied to or said, hey, you'll have input on these decisions. Because at the end of the day, the owners, these billionaire owners, are billionaires for a reason. And they're not going to take in any input from a player because the players are just renting the numbers. And I get it. When you're a star player, you help create a lot of income for these teams. But they understand that, 5-10 years, you're not going to be there. They're just going to continue. The train's going to keep moving. And Deshaun, they traded away Hopkins. Billy O took a lot of heat for trading away Hopkins. How much heat would a new GM take if you trade away Deshaun Watson? You think the fan base or anybody who is a Texans fan would think that would be a good move to help the team move forward in a winning direction? There's no way. They're not going to trade him, first of all. So he has the contract in place. He could be upset, but there's plenty of guys in the NFL that are upset with their situation. And the one thing I would say, the difference between the NBA and the NFL, the NBA, you see players all the time. They come out and they say, hey, look, I'm going here. I want to go there. And it happens. They figure it out and they build teams. The NFL, you don't see that happen. You see guys having to deal with the situations that they're in because of the way the CBA is and the way contracts work. The owners know that they have the upper hand. And the owners, honestly, they don't care. They don't care what the players' inputs are. They don't care. They're just like, yeah, I'm going to continue to make hundreds of millions of dollars. I'll still make my decisions on the GM, the head coach. And if it doesn't work out, the guaranteed money that we have going to those guys, whatever. It's chump change. So, that's why you see good teams continually be good and bad teams are continually bad because it starts at the top and it works its way down. So I understand why Deshaun would be upset and he would want to go somewhere else or want to have another place to be where he feels like he has a chance or an opportunity to give his input. Mm-hmm. But the Texans, why would you give him away? Why would you even trade him away? Because even a first-round pick, you get the number one overall pick. It's not better than Deshaun Watson.
Well, Rob, understand what we're saying here. We're not saying they're going to trade Deshaun Watson. We know better. What we're saying is that he should make it clear he wants out. Because the one thing that those owners are fixated on, which you would know a hell of a lot better than me, is control. They like control. Their executives like control. And when somebody has the belief or somebody really generates the belief that they're going to be a disruptive force, then you do see movement take place in the National Football League. Bill O'Brien used that as an excuse as to why he unloaded DeAndre Hopkins. We've seen it happen in other cases as well. I'm not saying that you engage in belligerence and immaturity and conduct yourself in a certain way. But what I'm saying is if you're Deshaun Watson, you have the city of Houston behind you, and you wear on your sleeve that this is someplace you do not want to be, and this is why they're going to have to do something about that. And it might not be moving you, but it might be appeasing you by making sure that if you don't have some say, then at least be mindful of what you want and make your decisions based on those things to some degree anyway, because if this is the talent that is winning on the field for you, you might have an idea what it takes to get it done.
That is a good point, Stephen A. When you say it's shut up and dribble, I think that's a little hyperbolic, but I understand the root of it underneath, Rob, is what you're saying, which is the owners are like, we have control. And they want to send the players that message. When you intentionally snub a guy like Deshaun, it's not simply like, well, we don't really need his input, it's not going to make a difference. You're sending a message, players, stay in your place. That, I agree, is kind of related to the shut up and dribble stuff, Stephen A., in the NFL especially. We've seen teams time and again, even collective bargaining situations with free agents, whatever it is, they want to send that message. The teams, we are in control, and not consulting Deshaun before you trade DeAndre Hopkins or interview GMs or anything like that. Yes, I think they're sending that message. And for that reason, Rob, I think Stephen A. is right about this. What do the players have at their disposal to push back? To say, hold on a second. Yep, I get your message, now get my message. You may have more control than me, but I'm not totally powerless. You want an unhappy franchise quarterback who everyone universally acknowledges is elite and great and can win Super Bowls? And I think most of us would say probably the second guy you'd want building a team behind Patrick Mahomes in the world. He's got to push back a little bit. He's like making his feelings known is the way to do that.
Well, potentially, maybe that's the reason why ownership came out and made a quick statement that Josh McDaniels wasn't going to be the next head coach, because they knew that this created a problem. So they went to Deshaun and said, look, okay, our bad. Sorry, we went out and did this behind your back and we didn't let you know. Maybe you'll have some more input, or hopefully you'll have input on the head coaching decision. But, you know, at the end of the day, the NFL is a completely separate thing. There's not even guaranteed contracts. You look at every other sport, there's guaranteed money. The owners have the upper hand no matter what. They understand it, and they flex their muscles at times. Yes, they do. I mean, look at any CBA where they go and they negotiate the next collective bargaining agreement. They flex their muscles, and the players pretty much have to, okay, yeah, you guys have the power on this. But at the end of the day, if you want to use the star talent that you have and the contract that you have in place for that star player to create revenue and to bring in victories, to fill a stadium up, you need Deshaun Watson on your team. The Texans need Deshaun Watson. If you have a disgruntled Deshaun Watson, it doesn't help anybody. It doesn't help the ownership make, at the end of the day, what they want to make, and that's continue to rake in the money. So moving forward, hopefully they'll be able to mend this relationship to where they don't have to come to that point of this isn't going to work for us in the organization.
Yeah, I mean, two things that are key in relationships, right? Communication and trust, and it looks like wasn't the best communication there. Let's keep it moving and get to your